So I watched a lot of videos about the effects of CBD, CBG, THC. Read a lot of articles and have talked about it over the years with a lot of people. And I just like 5 minutes ago did a YouTube search for CBD, and the information was a lot of it was just plain wrong, and some of it was weirdly put. Cannabis, as you know it, the smokable kind, has thousands and thousands of different, uh, I believe the word is terpine, but I'm not sure. It's not turpentine, but it's terpine, I think. Anyway, those cannabinols and other cannabis components, there are thousands of them. Now, the one you often hear talked about is delta THC9, but the reality is that when you take 100% purified delta THC9, which is actually a white powder, and it's a white powder that is supposed to relax you, but it completely wrecks you up. And no, I'm not an idiot who accidentally did coke. No, in laboratory tests, when there is 100% purified delta 9 THC, the only effects in a vast majority of people that it was given to, that it provided, were feelings of intense paranoia and psychosis. That is the only thing it gave you. Now, when they went through the other variants, which we don't usually test for because we tend to test for delta 9, they did find others which are in the delta family, such as delta 8 and delta 10, which I believe delta 10 is responsible for the feeling of munchies. I'm unsure, but that might be the one. Either way, they found other components which 100% purified produce different results than the delta 9 100% purified, which predominantly produced deep feelings of paranoia and psychosis and nothing else. Now, CBD, which is what you normally get when you order fiber hemp online, for example, is completely smokable, just like if you order the flowers, it is smokable as such. If you order the oil, you can mix it into something that is smokable and smoke the whole thing and get the proper results. And it is not as strong at first as THC, but if you smoke it in somewhat larger quantities than you smoke THC, it is quite good. And the thing with CBD is that when you test or farm a high CBD content plant, you most often produce similar things to CBD analogs. And the thing that we test for is CBD, but the thing we ought to test for, which is common in some forms of high quality CBD, but not in all of them, is actually CBG, which, because CBD produces sedation, calmness, pain relief, general like drowsy mood in large quantities. It produces the normalish variant of weed, but it, for example, has a very low probability of mad giggles, for example. That is one of the THC variants, but it is not the THC9, though that is one that is most often tested for. And CBG is something that turns to all or almost all other forms of possible cannabinoids in your body, including THC9, but it is processed through the liver, but it is inhaled through the lungs. So when you smoke a good quality CBD that has a large quantity of CBG, you will notice that it takes about 20 seconds to maybe 30 seconds to even a few minutes for the hit to hit you, unlike with normal THC, but it does hit you. So that is CBG. I believe CBG with a high content of others with a artistically low when preferred content of THC9 might be the best choice. Though naturally, if you are prone to THC9 or partial to THC9, you should be given THC9, but I believe you ought to trust the system at this point. I believe the one people ought to be looking at perhaps is CPG, but I'm unsure. And high content CBD weed also has almost always a high content of CBG, which is why it takes about 30 seconds from the smoke for it to hit, unlike normal THC, which is how you can determine that it is CBD. In fact, it is the only way you can determine it is CBD, or what is in the common market called the fiber hemp. Outside grown top quality fiber hemp is as bad as outside grown top quality THC delta 9 in altering the state of your mind. It is absolutely vital that it is a greenhouse grow. And by greenhouse, I mean good quality soil and very good sunlight. If it's like Finnish outside, European outside, I wouldn't recommend it. Outside always has a different, not so good feel to it. But yes, long story short, CBD, when it has a high content of CBG, can be noticed only by the fact that it hits you about 30 seconds after you've smoked it. It needs to go through your system once. By that time, it's already entered your brain, but your brain has no pain receptors. Then it enters your liver, takes a few seconds for the liver to start metabolizing it, and then it hits your brain. And then it will keep producing it, which means that if you happen to get weed where you smoke a couple of good hits and you think you were scammed, then you smoke a couple of more angrily and realize you're very stoned by that point. You might, if you want to be really, really stoned, want to make a tea out of it, because then you will know the power of CBD. In fact, almost any cannabis-based narcotic works incredibly much better as a tea, because most narcotics actually, in my opinion, work better when they go through many instead of fewer filtration systems. So if it first goes through your lungs, from there to your liver, and from there to your brain, it's better than injecting it straight to your brain, which is why, while I theoretically support Elon Musk, I don't support him much. So that's about it. Thank you.